I hate letting people down. I hate disappointing people. Even if their expectations are unreasonable and ridiculous, it still bothers me to let people down. Well, when I became committed, I should say, to being a purpose-aligned business owner, and when I committed to myself and to my family to be to have a purpose-aligned life, letting people down became a byproduct. Not often, but there are times that I have to intentionally step into that role. And so today I'm diving into this because I know that you're going to come up to the same decisions. You're going to come up to the same struggle. And I want you to see that it's not only normal, but it also, you can find grace and clarity and forgiveness in it. Let's dive in. Hey, and welcome to the Full Weight of Joy podcast, the podcast for women who are done stressing about the weight of the world, of expectations and settling for status quo, and ready to step into the full weight of joy. Joy in the journey, whether up or down, joy through the life's challenges, and joy in loving your life right where you are, even though sometimes we feel like chucking it all and moving to Bali. It's for women who are ready to step into who God called them to be. He chose you to be in this world. He created you for a specific purpose. God called us to be the light on a hill, and by embracing who you are and whose you are, you can stand on that hill and shine. The best part, when you're standing next to another woman who's also on the journey, the world gets brighter. My name is Tammy. I am your host and a master certified life coach and a trained therapist. For over a decade, I've been helping women do just that. Step into who they're called to be and shine. Are you ready, friend, to start your journey? Let's do this. Tell you that I don't like to let other people down. I don't like to disappoint people. I don't like to not live up to expectations, which, as you can probably imagine, is a really hard. You can't live up to everyone's expectations all the time, especially when you start living in your own integrity. And so one of the things that I want to talk about today is the fact that we have to let some people down sometimes. That it doesn't have to feel good. Like, it never feels good when I have to let someone down or I disappoint them or when I upset them, to keep my integrity, to stay true to my values or to my priorities, to say yes to one thing so I can say no to something else, to say no to one thing so I can say yes to something else. And this is one of the things that if you're going to live a purpose aligned life, if you're going to live your purpose and you're going to create a business that is going to impact tens of people, hundreds of people, millions of people, who knows? If you impact one person, all of a sudden, your values, your priorities, your boundaries, your integrity, your standards, your non-negotiables become the utmost important, because it's the why that you're protecting. It's your why. It's the impact. It's what's coming next that is going to help shape what you do. And I wanted to talk about that today because this is something that I have had to, like I mentioned, I'm a people pleaser, or I am a reformed people pleaser. And it's because I want to serve so much. I have so much to give, and there's so many ways that I can serve. Do you relate to that? Like, can you? And I'm actually a big of my friends right now who I know they can do so many things, so many things. And when they do all the things, they get burnt out. They get worn down. They get overwhelmed. They get stuck. They feel the energy, like they feel things that used to give them energy now drain them. And when that happens, their purpose, that thing that they know that they were put on earth to do, gets pushed aside. And I wanted to talk about that today because as I have been growing my business, as I've gotten clear on my foundation and my non-negotiables and the reason why I put them into place, I put them into place because I have a bigger mission that I want to fulfill. I want to partner with God and walk in obedience, and I want to make an impact that is beyond me. I want it to make an impact. I want to impact somebody who's going to impact somebody else. Like, I want that ripple effect to happen. I want to be able to look at the end of my life and said that I not only served, but I served well. that I served in integrity, that I served in obedience, that I showed up and I got to share Jesus with everyone around me. In order to do that, it does mean we have to make some hard decisions. It does mean that we have to sacrifice some of our own desires, some of our own comforts, some of our own, like the decisions or the things that we've said yes to. Sometimes that means that we have to decide and we have to change our mind, or we have to say no to something that we ordinarily would say yes to. This is part of the growth path. We can't please everybody. We can't make everyone happy. But the thing is who are we working for? Are we working for the world or are we working for God? Because if we tried to please everyone, I don't know, just look, like if you have an opinion on social media, you're going to, even your friends are going to speak against you, or there's so many different sides and opinions. And so many times they just want to be contrary. They just want to be somebody different. They just want to think something different. And if you start changing your mind and you start trying to serve everyone, you end up serving no one and you end up in a worse position than you are. I had to make a decision recently and I disappointed several people. And it makes me shake when I have a decision like that. It makes me, when I let people down, it bothers me so much because I want to serve. Have you ever experienced that? Like you knew in your heart that you, like, even in this situation, I said yes. I said I was going to do something with 100% intention to do it. And then after it was said and done, when I was about to do it, I realized that if I was to do what I said I was going to do, and I'm not going to say what it is because it really doesn't matter here. What does matter is the fact that it no longer made sense for me to do that. That by appeasing one person who she absolutely got angry with me not doing this, I would have hurt 10 other people. I would have been out of integrity and I would have had to apologizing, and it would have caused ripple effect for those individuals. And so at that time, the decision is like, what do I do here? Because I was complete, like if I did what I said I was going to do, I'm in complete agreement, like everyone, like that was the intention. Those 10 people knew. However, when push comes to shove and the result that came was different than the result I expected. And I would have broke integrity, like in a different value, a value that I hold more important than the do what you say you're going to do, the protect vulnerability, protect integrity, protect other people. At that point, to do what I said I was going to do, I would have to break another one of my non-negotiables. And I realized that living with myself, answering to who I answer to God, and my heart, in my heart of hearts, was telling me to go a different direction, to disappoint the one person. So that way I can make sure to protect those other 10. Sometimes we have to make those decisions. We have to disappoint people. And this was kind of extreme. And in the push, like comes to shove, there's going to be a way to make it right. I get that. She can be mad for a little while. And if that's what decides that we part ways, then okay, it breaks my heart. And I know that it's the right thing to do. This is why it's so, 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 so important that we understand our priorities and values. Because if I simply if I stuck with the people pleasing and I just did what I said I was going to do, I would have hurt other people. I would have, and not physically, it would have been more emotionally and I would have shared things that were not mine to share. Privacy and vulnerability are so important to me. Those are high on my values list. And so this is why, like, doing the work of understanding your core values, understanding my tendencies, and the fact that my initial reaction is to please everyone. Figure out a way to please everyone. But that's not, in this case, that was not the right way to go. There was no pleasing everyone. How many times have you've gotten yourself in these situations? And how many times do you struggle with, what do I do? Because this person means a lot to me, but I don't, and she's more important than, XYZ. And if I do this, there's other people that are going to be affected, or other situations, or even serving. And when we say yes to something, we have to say no to something else. When we say no to something, it's the ability to say yes to something else. By knowing ourselves, by building this foundation, I was able to work through this fairly quickly and realize that no, the right decision is to disappoint her. As much as I don't like disappointing people, as much as I know that you have a heart to serve and you don't want to disappoint people, sometimes we have to. And sometimes something's as simple as we have to turn down a lunch or an engagement, a birthday party, or something, because something else that we know goes along with our values, along with our purpose, along with our purpose aligned life, our core values, our core reactions, our core desires. The more we know ourselves, the better, the easier it is to build boundaries, to put up roadblocks and guardrails, and to understand when we are crossing rumble strips and about to go over into an area that we don't want to go into. If you want to stay in integrity with yourself, understanding your core values makes it easier. It makes it so that even when I disappointed her, my gut hurt, my heart hurt, but I knew that we would come through this. There's other things I could do to make it right. And I had to be okay with that. Friend, you have to be okay with this. The more you step into who you're called to be, the more people you're going to disappoint. They don't see your purpose and the ripple effects. They don't see the impact that God's placed on your heart. That's for you alone. That's for, this is why having a community of women who have stepped into their purpose and are willing to make those hard choices, make the personal sacrifices for the many. This is why it's so important, because we are going to disappoint people. And if I know you at all, I know that it's not fun. I know you don't like it. I know that you feel like I do. Like, I was literally shaking as I was creating the text to say, hey, this is what has to happen. I'm sorry that you're disappointed. And I am truly sorry that she was disappointed, but I'm also truly okay with the reason why I did it. We can't please everyone. When I first got onto the online business world, I had a couple of coaches say, you've arrived and you have haters. I get texts, well, not texts. I get emails, I get DMs. That's what I meant. DMs instead of texts from haters, people who do not agree with what I have to say, people who say this is not right, because people who don't like the words that I use. I had an email train with a lady who did not like the word that I called my peeps. She's like, you are a professional woman, and to have that word come out of your mouth just is a sign of disrespect. And I was like, okay, well, I get this. My whole point is my peeps are my people. Like, I have my people and I have my peeps. Like, it's just fun. The fact that she took offense to it finally, I apologized that she took offense to it, told her I meant no disrespect, which was really funny because I had people also email me right after and say, hey, I'm happy to be one of your peeps. And it was just showing that as we step in to what Christ has for us, as we put down the weight of the world, as we start stepping into this weight, the full weight of joy that we're heading into, this fulfillment and impact, and this action, this purpose and calling that God has led us to, we're going to disappoint people. We're going to let them down. We're going to offend. If you are easily offended, or if you're not, read the book Unoffendable. I will put in the show notes the author. I listened to it on Audible. Fantastic book. It talks about how, as Christians, we need to be the least offendable people in the world. And I love it because it was able to capture some of the things that I wanted to say. Like he said it so eloquently and in such a way that's like, yeah, I don't want to be offended by anyone. And you can say whatever you want and it's not going to offend me. Now it may hurt my feelings. I may take it personal, but I'm not going to be offended. Like I will take into consideration what you say. But there's sometimes, ladies, sometimes my peeps, that we have to not even take into consideration, that we can't make everyone happy. We can't please everyone. I have learned this quick when we have been for 3 months, we've been in the Airbnb business, and we have a small Airbnb here in Tulsa that we are managing. And holy cow, like the same thing that makes one person happy, someone finds despicable and thinks it's like just the worst thing ever. And it just reminds me that we can't be double-minded in this, ladies. That we have to, we have an obligation to understand our values, our priorities, our purpose, our why, the impact that we make, the problem that we're solving. We have and even if I know many of you who are listening are not ready to start a business yet, I know that many of you are still just wanting to find that balance in your life, that purpose aligned. You want to make an impact and be able to, you want that rest and work-life balance. I know that many of you are looking for that. And I'm crafting a podcast right now about the difference between work-life balance and living a purpose-aligned life. This is something that I've kind of been wrestling with a little bit. And so the differences and then blending them together of why we can have a balance and a purpose aligned life. Like they need to go together, but they are two different things. And so anyway, squirrel, like let me get refocused here. But I just wanted to encourage you that when you know your why, the impact you make, the purpose that you are living, when you know your values, it stings a lot less. And you get over it quicker and you're able to have that hard conversation to let someone down. Because you know that the amount of people, even if it's one person that God has for you. Okay. So it is the right thing to do for the one person. But it's okay because we're not trying to serve the masses. We're not trying to work for the world. We are working for the obedience of God. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes we make the wrong decision and let people down. It's still like God covers that in grace as well. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know. I promised something that I had no idea that it wasn't going to be a good thing. Like I had full intention of following through. And when it came down to it, God had placed on my heart that it was not the direction I needed to go. And I needed to let her down. I needed to let a friend down. And so I wanted to share this today because I know one is that we don't like letting people down. But to combat that is when we understand the why behind the why, when we understand our values, our core motivations, when we know what our core desires and what drives us and the mission that God's put in front of us, we understand the reason why we have to let someone down, that we have to disappoint them at times, and that we understand that though it may be hard, we can do the hard things. So I just want you to think about that as you're going. And if you have this back and forth of shouldn't I not, I want you to make that decision based on your values, not on the people you're going to disappoint. If you've cultivated those relationships, that little disappointment will actually grow you stronger and they will understand. If they don't understand, then it may not be a relationship that you need to pursue. I know that's kind of harsh, but it is what it is, ladies. We have a mission. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We have the strength to make those hard choices and to And we just have to get over, we have to get over the fact that we can't please everyone. So to all my reformed people pleasers or people pleasers out there, let this be a relief off of you. Because when you know your values, when you know your priorities, when you know your why, your purpose, when you know the calling God has put in front of you and the impact that it's making, you see why we have to do those hard decisions, we have to grow through them, and it's just the way it is. All right, friend, with that, let's chat. If you want to discover what these core values are, you have this idea, you know that you have a purpose and you want to turn it into a profitable business that you may not know exactly the how of it, but you know it's there. Reach out to me and let's talk. I have a boot camp coming up in September that it is Purpose to Profit. It's we're going to turn your God-given calling into the foundation for a profitable business. I'm going to walk you through the steps. And so you don't have to take the almost 5 years that I have been through, the ups and the downs. I'm going to show you the things that have worked, the foundation that I've built, my business is built on this foundation. It is my decision-making process. It is how I decide the directions that I'm going. It is how I can add new things to it because I have this strong foundation and I want to help you build that. So if you're interested, reach out to me. It's going to be in September, and get on my calendar and let's chat. Let's talk about what's possible. All right, friend, with that, choose joy until joy chooses you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.